Namaste everyone. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Welcome to our fourth session on how to study Bhagavad Gita. So, in the last session, we discussed part of the second adhyay, which is Sankhya, where we talked of Antavanta ime Deha, the indestructible nature of Atma, and how the Atma changes the body from one life to another, just as we change our clothes. Now, today in this session, let's talk about the Buddhi-Yoga that Shri Krishna started telling Arjun, Esha te bhita sankhye buddhir-yoge tvamam shrunu. So, Nilesh, here I wanted to discuss like 3 points which I took away from this Buddhi-Yoga that he has been talking about, where he started with Vyavasayatmika buddhir sakeha kurunandana bahu shakha hanantansha buddhayo vyavasayanam. Also, shlok like Trigunya Vishaya Veda, shloks like Yoga Karma Sukaushalam, or the shlok which says Samatvam Yoga Uchyate. So in Trigunya Vishaya Veda, he tells Arjun, go beyond the Vedas, because even the Ved, as he says, is full of Sattva, Raja, and Tamoguna, which is very surprising, right? Because we have a thought process in our dharma which says that Ved is the ultimate. So there is nothing more than Ved, and that if you are able to achieve the Vedas, that's the ultimate jnana that and but Krishna is telling Arjun, go beyond the Vedas. Then he talks about samatvam yogochate, and then about yoga karma sukaushalam, how dedicated we should be and how quality conscious we should be in the work that we do. So can you please explain your perspective on these 3 points that for me, I think are important for us to understand what Bhagavan Krishna is trying to tell Arjun?
Okay. And I will have to ask you for a reminder because I will forget those 3 points. So,
sure.
I will go through the Yoga Buddhi, but if I miss any of these, then you remind me. Yes. So the one point out of all this discussion, you said 3. The one I remember is that typically, everyone would like to think or would think based on whatever people have said, hey, the Vedas is the highest, Vedic learning Vedas, understanding that knowledge is highest and so on. And now Krishna is coming and saying something different. At least it appears to be different. Okay. Frankly, this discussion, what Krishna is doing here in the second chapter is there in the Vedas also. The problem is, it's almost hidden in the sense the emphasis doesn't come out on this. Now, Krishna is almost like extracting that message and giving it to us here. So that's one point. The bigger point, and that's why it is a yoga buddhi. Okay. So for example, Vedas are also understood to be karma kanda, like karma, actions, how to do it and how to chant and so on, and how to do the actions, yajna. Here, yoga buddhi. So which is to say, don't forget why you are doing that karma kanda. Okay, so the meaning behind that thing. And therefore, it's like saying, whether you take a Veda, whether you take, say, Sampradaya, whether you take a Guru. These are the sources through which we possibly learn this, right? Directly Vedas. Okay, you can think of this as a Shastra, Shastra Prapti, or like a Shastra Pratiti, like literally the thing telling you. Guru is like a Guru Pratiti, and a Sampradaya, through that you can say Atma Pratiti, but what you can say, Pratiti through other people's experiences, that gives us a guidance. So now what Krishna is saying here is that you have to go beyond that. In what way? These 3 are meant to give you something, okay, which is that buddhi, or your yoga buddhi. If you confuse the ultimate objective of yoga buddhi for these, such as Veda or a Guru or a Sampradaya, and I'm just taking these 3 examples, you can make a long list of it, then you have missed the point. So for example, the role of these 3 is to be transparent to transcendence, meaning yoga buddhi is the objective. Samatva is the objective. But if you get stuck in studying Vedas, if you get stuck in just doing Guru Seva, I'm not saying just Guru Seva is also to get the Samatva Buddhi, that humbleness and removal of your ego and so on. But if you get stuck doing Guru Buddhi and not realizing what your ultimate purpose is, then there is a problem. Which is what is now, look why he's telling this to Arjun, because Arjun is saying, Aze mame tase kake sasare soyere sake guru bandhu mulena tu. He's my guru. How can I kill? He's this. And he's saying, well, if that individual is against dharma, then don't forget your second part, which is to say you are not a body. And, you mentioned that, the second part of Sankhya Buddhi that we did the previous part is Swadharma. And that is also causing some confusion to Arjun. Okay. And so like a Buddhi and a Karma, which one to do?
Yeah, in fact, I remembered Hiranmayena Patrena Satya Sahipitam Mukham from Ishavasya, where Satya or Vidya and Avidya. So basically, I think what Bhagavan Krishna is trying to say is, don't limit yourself to the Vedas. Vedas can be the limiting factor of reaching the Satya. Satya is something different. Ved is one of the tools to achieve that Satya. Correct. Which even Ishavasya Upanishad also says, Hiranmayena Patrena Satya Sahipitam Mukham. So in that sense, I think what you're saying is, that's why he says go beyond even the Vedas, and they should not be limiting you to achieve the Satya. Is possibly. And also what I find interesting is where he says, Samatvam Yoga Uchate. At the same time, he says Yoga Karma Sukaushalam.
Correct.
And to talk of Swadharma, he says Karmanye Vadikaraste.
Yes.
So he's saying do your Swadharma. Yeah. He's saying have a Samatva Buddhi. And he's saying Yoga Karma Sukaushalam. Do it in the best possible way with the maximum focus on what you need to be doing as your Swadharma. So he's triangulating all this together. So do you want to add to this perspective?
Yeah. So what is happening is, you see, all that the triangulation that you refer to, the various things is saying, it's second adhyaya is a essence of Bhagavad Gita, but therefore it is essence of a Vedanta. Therefore, it is essence of a Veda. There is a essence of the whole Sanatana Dharma. There is therefore it is a essence of a Sat, the reality, the factual reality that every one of us facing every day as part of our existence, or you can say because of our existence, what we have today. So therefore, Bhagavad Gita is extremely pragmatic, extremely practical. Like, people can philosophically speculate as much as they want. The fact remains that you are stuck in this body right now. Okay. So for example, so Sankhya Buddhi, you mention it. So death means transfer to another deha. Okay. That has been said, but so in a way, which means what? Atma is separate, deha is different, it's just a vehicle and so on. But still asking to do Swadharma, that has caused the first level of confusion. Now, I'm not saying Krishna intends to do it, but that will be for anyone, because Krishna is going at a fast speed, into this second adhyaya. So if I have to summarize, which is what? Say Ashocha, what is that? Ashocha Nanma Shochastvam. From there, so think of Shlok 11 to 38. Okay. The 11 to 38 is a summary of a Sankhya Buddhi, which has got everything about how you are Atma and not the body, and also do Swadharma. Now, if you split this, see, there can be a doubt possibly. Okay. So Atma, what is it saying? Atma is like, doesn't do any kartu. I mean, you cannot attach any kartutva to Atma. You cannot attach any karmatva to Atma. Okay. It's not even a prerak. Like that is what we see in the 18th chapter afterwards, like what causes us to do things. And then there is a Swadharma that is been told. Now the doubt can be, so okay, Atma is a kartutva, but then now Krishna is asking everyone, and in this case Arjun, to do Swadharma, and why? So Arjun is indeed going to ask that question again at the beginning of 3rd chapter, but now Krishna proactively is telling, say, okay, now you understood Sankhya Buddhi. Now, in order to understand that additional stuff, understand Yoga Buddhi. That's where Yoga Buddhi comes into picture. And for our benefit of our audience, I would say, loosely speaking, we can think of Shlok 39 through 53 of second chapter as the discussion of a Yoga Buddhi. So do you have any other question? Otherwise, I wanted to just walk through few aspects of, not all the shloka, but few aspects of that Yoga Buddhi.
Sure, no, go ahead, please.
Okay. So you said where it begins, like the Eshate Bhita Sankhya, right? So now he's saying karma. Now in Yoga Buddhi, Krishna is going to talk about karma phala tyaga, which is that famous shlok, karmanye vadikaraste mahaphaleshu kadachana. Okay. Now, what is the objective behind karma phala tyaga? This is actually very confusing, and I'm not saying confusing to other people. It is confusing. It was confusing to me forever, and possibly I would say sometimes that confusion returns, for me also. So the idea behind karma phala tyag is to eliminate the kartutva. But then the question will also come, like, why eliminate the kartutva? And it just goes on. So that's where it begins the Yoga Buddhi discussion. Okay. So now so Krishna is saying we have to achieve a samatva buddhi, because after samatva buddhi, whatever you do kind of doesn't matter. That's what it is.
As you were saying, right? Sorry to interrupt, but as you were saying that kartutva doesn't get attached. So I think what he's trying to say is, if you have a samatva buddhi, sukha dukkhe samay krutva labha labho jaya jayo,
yes,
if with that attitude you do your swadharma, nothing will get attached. Even if it's a body, even if it's a body doing things, but then nothing gets attached to the atma is, possibly, I think.
Right. And then, of course, then people are saying, so how come this is possible? Like, you actually do the karma and still not get attached, So that's where the idea of that Buddhi Yoga or Yoga Buddhi is brought in. Because, when we are saying you do some work and still you are not attached, or still you are not responsible for the outcome, when we are saying this, we are again thinking we are doing it, like we as in Atma, but Atma is not. That is just as a theoretical thing Krishna said as a part of Sankhya Yoga or Sankhya Buddhi. Now think of it. So again, to bring those same 2 points, what is the key message given? This Samatva Buddhi, for example, the part of Yoga Buddhi, is better than karma, right? We are saying, hey, go attain Samatva. Samatva Buddhi is better than karma. And in this Yoga Buddhi itself, I'm saying. And the second Siddhanta, you can say, or second a key point that Krishna is making is karma is better, or the word is like, you can say superior, you can say karma is superior than phala. So think of this. This is very neat. Samatva Buddhi is superior to karma, and karma is superior to phala. Now, based on this, Arjun is asking at the beginning of the 3rd chapter. We have not gone there that far. So he says, now this is very important for people to understand, listen also. If according to that number 2 Siddhanta, that karma is superior to phala or karma is better than a phala, and then what is he saying? That give up the phala. Give up the phala, right? So if this per Siddhanta number 2, okay, so karma is to be done while giving up the phala. Phala you are giving up, but karma is to be done. Then therefore Arjun is asking at the beginning of the 3rd. So he says, hey, why not per the Siddhanta number 1, where Samatva Buddhi is said better than karma, why not just leave karma and just take to Samatva Buddhi? You see the logic? Consistency? Okay. And then, so this is a question that Krishna has already answered here. That's what we are going to look at. But it was kind of slipped through Arjuna's mind, Arjuna's comprehension, you can say. Or at the end of the day, Vyasadeva is writing this. So we are saying Vyasadeva also felt, hey, this is given, but people might miss it. So this is called, when we talk of Purva Paksha, Uttara Paksha, Nyaya Darshan will say that for a Purva Paksha, you don't have to always have an opponent. You can, through your own think what might be people's confusion and bring it forward even before people bring it and respond to it. That's that Purva Paksha, Uttara Paksha. And that's what Vyasadeva is doing, you can say. Or let's say that actually happened between Krishna and Arjuna. So this is the Arjuna's prashna. So keep that in mind. The karma is to be done while we give up the phala. Then why not just give up the karma also and just take to Samatva Buddhi? That is that problem and the yoga buddhi is an answer to that. Okay, so even somewhat sankhya buddhi problem is, or sankhya yoga problem is also there. So hey, if we are not a body and we are a atma, and atma doesn't have any kartutva, then why bother doing anything? But Krishna is saying you must do swadharma. Okay, take your bow and arrow and start fighting.
That is where dharma comes into picture, swadharma. But
Yes.
do you think how practical is that possible? Where on one hand Krishna says do your swadharma, he says do yoga karma sukaushalam to the best of your, with passion, one pointedness, focus, and don't give up the phala, or don't expect the phala. How in the practical life are we supposed to implement this? That is my one question. And my second question, let's talk about this and then I'll come to the second. Yeah.
Okay, so the first question, like how practical it is, actually, yeah. So again, there we need to understand two types of karma, which again, as an exploration of this or as an expansion of this, that comes afterwards, into the later chapters of Bhagavad Gita, 18th chapter or so, vihita karma, that karma, for example, just take as an example, in karma is a very broad concept, right? So me taking, like me breathing like this, that's a karma. Me blinking my eyes is a karma. Me taking a sleep is a karma. Okay, me eating is a karma. So these are also karma, and he said, don't take the phala. No, that is not at all what Krishna is saying. These are the nitya karma. These are vihita karma. These are like you have to do it. If you have a body, if you are stuck in the body, it's like saying if you have a car, the maintenance of a car, if you want to go somewhere, putting the fuel into the car, okay, making sure that the lights are working, while driving, looking in the mirror, that needs to be done. That is not like the karma that Krishna is referring to. Those are nitya karma, vihita karma, nihita karma. It needs to be done. The karmanyavadika, for example, as simple as like person doing a job and therefore getting a salary.
I was coming to that, yeah.
Okay, so for example, okay, so you do a job and at the end of the day, you tell your employer saying, hey, by the way, but I'm practicing karma yoga here, or yoga buddhi and all that. So yeah, no, I will work, but don't give me the salary. No, it is not intended. That is again a nitya karma. For example, in third chapter, when we go there, we'll talk about it. It says like a nitya karma is to be done. Otherwise, your existence just won't happen. What to speak of that? Again, I don't want to go too forward there, but even when you earn, let's say, take a salary as a simple example, using that salary only for yourself, you as an individual, let's say, and that individual can be expanded to family and to your neighborhood and to your village and town and city and country and the world, that can go on. Even that itself is not correct. That is like Krishna is saying, if somebody does that, he's a thief and so on, but we'll not go there. But bringing back the karmanyavadika raste ma phaleshu kadachana, that verse, in the sense of that karma is referred to, which is a karma, not a nitya karma, not the nitya karma, not a nihita karma, not like a karma that is naturally assigned to you. We are not talking about this. We are talking about, we meaning Krishna is talking in that karma that is done for the purpose of, a simple word would be antakarana shuddhi. Okay, like the samatva buddhi, to attain a samatva buddhi. Because me earning something and then consuming for my own joy, that is just like it doesn't need much intelligence. But to go beyond that, and I don't mean just the salary, but everything, or even thinking of some karma which you may not do as a part of your nitya karma for your sustenance. For example, somebody reading a book on certain issue, somebody taking some social cause, or think of like one of that Padma awardee lady, she built a whole forest. Now, she could have not built the whole forest. She could have just lived her life. So now if you see these examples, so now somebody doing that and not being attached to the outcome, or even when the outcome comes, like say finally this lady was very successful in building a beautiful forest, right? Not feeling connected, like, hey, I did it, or something like this. That is that karmane vadeka raste ma phaleshu kadachana ma karma phala heturbhut mate sangosva karmani. And this is for a antakaran shuddhi, for a purification of your mind. We are talking yoga buddhi, mind in the sense like intellect, yoga buddhi. And why is that? That is, of course, for a Jivan Mukti or becoming Sthita Prajna or getting the Brahma Nirvana. So Sthita Prajna is the situation for now, right here and now in this body. And Brahma Nirvana is what happens after we move on from this body.
So basically, move from just having an existential existence to going beyond for a larger cause, either society, nature, world, or whatever. So that's where, and that absolutely is right. In that sense, he's saying yoga karma su kaushalam, like do it with that passion wherein it doesn't matter that you get a name or fame for it, but you've done it so that somebody's life, some society's life, something in the world has improved in terms of sustenance, like dharma, dhru, the root is dhru, right? Which means sustenance.
Yeah.
Like people talk of sustainability now in the corporate world, but we talked of sustainability 25,000 years ago.
Correct.
Where to sustain, the ecosystem, whatever we have. So I think that's what you're trying to say. And yeah, that is so true. Yeah.
Okay. And just to add to that, so now somebody may ask the question. So again, now what I'm doing is like a Purva Paksha. Not that anybody has asked the question, but I am asking on someone's behalf, Now somebody may ask the question, but hey, hold on. So why should I bother to look after sustainability? And the simple answer is, again, that karma bandhana word comes, but your very existence, the fact that you are existing, you are breathing and you are consuming resources itself, you are creating an unsustainable situation.
Yes.
And therefore, you need to put effort if you want to get that samatva, if you want to balance it and not leave any karma balance. That's why you need to make those efforts. Okay. And that is the samatva buddhi.
So in my karma balance sheet that I keep talking about, it's like I'm already a liability. Please do something so that I convert myself into an asset.
Correct.
My birth itself is a liability to this universe. So please do something to make yourself an asset. For sustainability. Yeah.
Yeah. For example. Yeah, go ahead.
Otherwise, we'll be just dipping into the resources of the universe.
Yeah. And that is why, for example, when we are born into the world, let's say, even before we are born, but let's take as a when we are born into the world, immediately or over a period of time, whichever way we want to say it, immediately is in a figurative sense. We immediately have incurred like 3 debts. I mean, there are many debts, but so for example, one is like a pitru runa. Yeah. And then when we are getting education or, so there is a Samaja Runa, Pitru Runa, and a Guru Runa. I mean, there you can think of 10 others. So that's like you think of unsustainability. So yes, they have put the efforts when we as an infant, we didn't know anything beyond our existence. And that also we were not so, we're not that aware. Our parents took care of us. Okay, Pitru Runa. And the whole genetic pool that we were lucky to be born in or not so lucky to born in, whichever way we look at it. Then education, the Guru Runa. And then society, like, you go for a walk and that is on that confidence that society has created a certain situation to you or people who contributed to your well-being or your education. So that's what I mean by unsustainability. So like you are taking, like, gimme. I mean, it's just not the money, although money is like a very blatant form of it. Gimme. Now, what are you doing in return? Okay. So Samaja Runa, Pitru Runa, Guru Runa. So that's a different subject, but very closely connected with this as to why you are creating that samatva buddhi, balancing the field, sustainability. Okay, but let me go further and then you can add your points or ask questions too. So that's one karmanivadika raste. Now what is happening is, see, nitya karma, it's kind of given, right? I mean, breathing, it's a karma, but I don't need some internal motivation, outside motivation to do it. I mean, my body is almost doing it, as long as I don't press my nose or something, body is doing it. Now, for doing this karmane vadika raste, the kind of karma we are talking, just like Arjuna is fighting for the dharma, I mean, Arjuna himself, if he wants to selfishly live still in a sustainable, I mean, still in a decent fashion, the Pandavas, 5 Pandavas, they could have lived by going to some other land, conquering that land, or so on. But they have to also do a bigger part of putting the yad yad acharati sreshta, right? So, so there is a anyay, okay? There is a adharma that is happening, and they have to fix it to show people that adharma is not to be simply tolerated. So there is that samajaruna, that is the aspect there. And that's why Krishna is saying, like, hey, if you run, what will the Kshatriya think of you? What kind of example you are going to give it to society? This is, in a way, think of as a samaja runa and the family runa. What about the great previous kings, of Kuru dynasty? Like, they went through a lot of things to sustain this, and now you're just giving it up. Let Duryodhana take it, Shakuni play with it, and Karna, destroy it in his own ways. So it's for that. So now to do this, you need a sadhana nishchay, meaning you need a purpose that is beyond you. This is not about naitik karma anywhere. You want to leave something, and that's why sometimes we say prayatnam paryaptam. Even your efforts are enough. Now, that doesn't mean you should make some casual effort and fool yourself. In this case, you cannot fool anybody. You are only fooling yourself if you don't put your true efforts. So sadhana nishchay is required. That is that given in the 41st verse. Like, I think you already said it. Vyavasayatmika buddhir. Okay. Ekeha kurunandana bahu shakha yanantasho buddhya vyavasayinam. Which is to say, the person will say, let me do here, go do pray to every, I mean, that is not even a karma, but I'm saying that is not even this karma yoga or yoga buddhi, but pray to every god, whoever responds to my thing. I mean, that's, I would say, utterly chaotic thinking. But even in the work, like suppose you take a project, like let's take example of that lady who decided to build that forest. Now, she could have thought of doing 25 things, and she may not have been successful in doing any one of them, but she decided to focus. Whatever, that's like a swadharma. Now we are connecting that with a swadharma. What you love to do, what you are capable of doing, and what you have a background in, which is what you are capable of doing, bringing those together. So even for that, you need a sadhana nishchay, and not get disturbed by looking at something else and saying, oh, that looks more flashy. No, that's not your swadharma. So that's one aspect. Second, now we understand why karmanyavadikaraste, meaning phala nirapeksha. So now you are going to focus, and for that, part of that sadhana nishchay. Now, if you're not worried about the outcome, that also actually allows you to focus. Hey, you know what? I'm not worried. My prayatnam paryaptam, my job is to do the best I can with all my abilities. As long as I am honest to myself, okay, I'm fine. No, I'm not going to worry. Then the next one is that focusing. I mean, that's again, the ladies is a good example. So forest is not built in one day. Meaning, it's very easy to do the vriksharopan, like a new plants are, planted, new, saplings are planted, photos are taken, or somebody, you see the person watering that plant, but if you come after their 6 months, maybe that plant is not there. So then you need that tenacity, perseverance, samadhi, like ekagrata, and just keep on doing that. That is that Buddhi-Yoga jahatiha ubhe sukruta dushkrute. You are not being concerned whether this is going to be successful, this is going to work out or not. You are just going to do it. You're going to learn everything you need to do for that particular goal that you have set to yourself. And learning everything, understanding everything, having that balanced attitude, that is what that yoga karma kaushalam. Okay, so you are not just doing because now this is a beyond your naitik karma. You are doing it for a society, and see, that is a thing that we all see. People, when it comes to, I mean, I say this in one kind of my research. When it comes to personal issue, very personal, like the naitik, about their own, they are very careful. They will not be fooled by somebody saying, say, suppose it's one's money, and somebody says, hey, invest in this stock. They are not that foolish that immediately say, thank you very much, and go invest in that stock. But for example, like I'll mention, not to bring my research in related to this, but if it's like a Mahabharata dating, right? And then, as soon as I say it, he says, yeah, but I heard that so-and-so was saying this. So Like, what is your point? Okay, so do you think that is better? This is, no, I don't know, but there are many. So it seems like no particular date, no real date can be found out. Now, this is not what that person will say when it comes to his very selfish related interest. Out of those 4 or 5 options, this person will go through the study and find out which one is the best one, which stock is the best one to invest, which school is the best one where he or she wants to put their children. But when it comes to the social aspects, okay, like we know in economics what we call the tragedy of commons. When it's something social, people don't think about it. And in that context, this buddhi yukto jahatiha ube sukruta dushkrute. You're going beyond this. So sukruta means for your own purpose. No, you are just saying you're going beyond that. That is that going beyond Vedas and so on and so forth. And quickly, and I'll give it back to you. And then when you achieve this, you go beyond Sukruta Dushkruta, which is to say the criteria or the rigor that you use for your personal benefit, very close benefit, is not any different than the way you're going to use for this other karma, let's say, call it the runa that we are going to.
The real karma.
The real karma. Yeah, the runa that we are going to, repay as a simple level. I'm just saying it. There is something beyond that. Then when you use the same rigor, basically you become Sthita Prajna. Basically you become Sthita Prajna. Okay. And yeah, back to you. And then I will say something else. Go ahead.
Yes. Our time is almost up as decided.
We did like a 30 minutes. So yeah, that's a kind of with
so
the
so I think we are good here as far as this session is concerned. And in the next session for the audience, we'll be talking about Sthita Prajna, which is the third part of Sankhya, that is the second chapter. And yeah, you can end it, Nilesh.
Okay, so I want to make 2 points. Okay, again, this could be useful for those who want to study Bhagavad Gita individually or also in small groups and whatnot. And again, this study never stops. So we talked about like our personal thing. We look at something, you use a certain type of rigor. As soon as it's something broader, like, directly doesn't concern you, or at least the individual thinks it directly doesn't concern him or her, they become careless, and I gave an example of like dating of Mahabharata, but it can be anything. Now what happens is, see, you will not see these arguments. I'm going to tell you some arguments, like these arguments not used when it's something personally concerns them. For example, say medicine, okay, some personal health condition, and the person is going to look at all possible things, may look for different doctors, different multiple opinions, may read about that disease, may read about all the treatments and so on and so forth. But at the end of the day, based on his or her understanding, is say, okay, I am going to follow this, or as a step 1, I'm going to follow this medicine or treatment. Then if that doesn't work, I'm going to do this number 2 and so on. So the person has a clear idea. The person may be right or wrong, but the person has a clear idea in terms of hierarchy, like gradation. What's the priority number 1, what he or she is going to try first and so on. Now, again, you talk about going beyond, like something that immediately doesn't concern. So like, that could be even the politics, like who to vote, or like the dating of Mahabharata. I just use that because that's my thing. Now people will get into, say, Grantha Pramanya, Guru Pramanya, Sampradaya Pramanya. But in my Sampradaya, my Guru said it is so and so. Like the Kali Yuga began only this time, but you are saying it is different. My Guru said the length of Kali Yuga, Dwapar Yuga is this much, but how come you are saying Ramayana happened 14,000 years ago and Mahabharata happened 7,000 years ago? Now that question is not bad. But in this case, whereas in other cases, the personal disease, the person will go through a very serious stuff. In this case, the person wants you to answer his problem. You don't have that problem. I mean, I don't have a problem why there is a difference of 7,500 years between Treta Yuga and the end of Dwapar Yuga. That person has a problem based on certain sets of assumptions he's making. Now, remember, that's what we are going to, that Veda. Okay, the knowledge, Veda also in a generic knowledge. So he or she has some knowledge that is conflicting with something else, that leads to what? Vadarati. You know that verse, right? Veda Vadarata Partha. Then the arguments begin. But when it's a very personal thing, the person doesn't get into argument. He will say, oh, thank you very much for your help. And, just get rid of that person and do whatever he or she wants to do. Okay. There, they will not so much press for the personal thing, swamata agraha. They say, thank you very much. And they will do what it is. But here they will fight because they think this doesn't concern them. Let's have some fun, which is a very sick mentality. So what I'm saying is, this is a moha kardama, like trying to use a certain pramanya to question another one, just to argue for the sake of argument, insisting on your own opinion, but not doing more to it. Okay, these are the problems, and that's in that context, Krishna said, Traigunya Vishya Veda. Nistrigunya Bhavarjuna. In fact, the funny thing is that word guna, Traigunya, he's saying, right? Guna. In the entire Veda, entire Rigveda, for example, the word guna is not there. Okay, Swabhava. So Swabhava is the word that we find at the beginning of a 17th chapter. So that's what I wanted to mention, one. And and I'll stop quickly for the benefit of others who might be reading second chapter, studying Bhagavad Gita in general, but specifically second chapter. Shlok number 51 provides a very good summary for the entire second chapter, and therefore actually in a way entire Bhagavad Gita in some fashion. Karmajam buddhi-yuktahi phalam tyaktva manishinaha janma bandha vinirmukta padam gacchantya anamayam. So the first, there are four halves, right, in this Anushtup Chanda. Karmajam buddhi-yuktahi phalam tyaktva manishina, like that. So the first is Sankhya, the Sankhya Buddhi and Yoga Buddhi that we are talking. So from 38 to like 53 or so, that's Sankhya Yoga Buddhi, and 11 to 38 is the Sankhya Buddhi. So Karmajam Buddhi Yuktahi, meaning you are not a body, do Swadharma, okay, and give up the phala. That is that sort of the summary there. Now, again, those aspects are re-emphasized. The next one is phalam tyaktva manishana, phala tyag. The next one, janma bandha vinirmukta, that is nothing but sthita prajna. Jivan Mukti, meaning to experience that freedom right here and now. That is that Jivan Mukti, which is sort of a key aspect of chapter 5, Adhyay 5, 5th. And also Adhyay 5th, another Videha Mukti. So Jivana Mukti, we can think of that as a right here, when we are here. Okay, so experiencing Sthita Prajnata or behaving like a Sthita Prajna when you are in this body, that itself is the highest achievement. And naturally, therefore, when this body is given up, Videha Mukti, that is that Brahma Nirvana, that we will see at the end of second chapter. We will also see at the end of the 5th chapter. That is it, Ashwini.
Good. Thank you. So just to add, we must do a talk on sometimes a discussion on water fast. That came to my mind. And second is the sampradaya. So some other time, it's not related to the Gita, but let's do it sometime to address some of these questions that your health, your comment on health reminded me of that discussion on water fast. And another comment of sampradaya reminded me of the fact that we should do one talk on the sampradaya. I mean, which sampradaya do you and me belong to? So interesting.
Definitely we will do that. And also, I mean, we'll wait for a while, at least we'll get through the most of the Bhagavad Gita, especially once we do 17th chapter and the ahara and sattva rajatama ahara. The fasting would be a good time for that. And sampradaya, we will figure it out. I mean, sampradaya comes in a bigger way. Sampradaya, one thing is like a very narrow sense, is like, say, Shankaracharya Sampradaya and Ramanujacharya Sampradaya and Madhvacharya Sampradaya, right? But there, I mean, some of my critics, and I love it, talk about Okian school, actually. So that is also a Sampradaya, I mean, if people think in a limited way. One time, some person was telling me, this is going back a few years, I don't remember exactly. Yes, they say you belong to the Okian school. You belong to the Vartak school, and I said, no, I don't belong to Vartak school. I belong to the Okian school. If there is anything, belong to the Oak school. All right. On that note, we will stop. So next time we will talk about Sthita Prajna.
Yes. Thank you. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Jagadamba, Jagadamba, Jagadamba.
Namaskar.
Dhanyavada.
Namaskar.